And we'll start, I believe everyone has the agenda. We will start with a welcome and introduction. And thank you everybody for taking time out of your busy schedule to attend today. We have a couple of folks with us. We have a new member and also a guest. And so what I'd like to do is just have people go around and introduce themselves. And Allison, why don't we go ahead and start with you?
Hey everybody, this is Brittany Kaplan. I'm actually helping Allison stream.
Okay.
So it looks like she's here, but it's actually me in two places.
Oh, sorry, Brittany.
Hi, I'm Brittany Kaplan. I'm the staff attorney for the External Affairs Division of the Judicial Branch. I'm also the legislative liaison.
Thank you. Natasha? You're on mute. Natasha, you're on mute.
Sorry, Natasha Pierre. So I apologize for my walking camera. We just got a camera attached. Natasha Pierre from the State Victim Advocate.
Thank you. Marielle?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marielle Daniels. I'm the representative for the Connecticut Hospital Association.
Edith?
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Edith Ashravar. I'm from the Department of Public Health, the Rape Prevention Education Program.
Sherry?
Hi, everyone. Sorry. Hi, everyone. My name is Sherry Watson, and I am representing from the CNA, Connecticut Nurse Association.
Thank you. Welcome. Lori?
Good afternoon, and thank you for having me. Nice to meet everyone. My name is Lori Johnson. I am with Converge Marketing, and I work with the Connecticut Department of Public Health, specifically with Edith Atwar on the rape prevention education program and sexual violence related programs. And I also work with her group on some other things as well. Thank you for having me.
Thank you and welcome. Jean?
Hi, everybody. Jean Weisbrod with Office of Victim Services.
Pat? Thank you, Jean. Pat?
Hi, everyone. Pat Moriarty here. I'm the SAFE Program Training Manager at the Office of Victim Services.
Linda? Thank you, Pat. Linda?
Good afternoon, everyone. Linda Cimino, Director, Office of Victim Services.
Thank you, Linda. And of course, I'm Denise Covington. I'm the SAFE Program Manager, and Linda is the chair of the committee, but I know she has to, look, I'm sorry, looks, let me pause. It looks like Denise Poncini is on.
Hello, everyone. I'm sorry I joined a little bit late, and I also need to apologize that I will need to leave about 2:30 from this meeting. I'm Denise Poncini. I'm with the Office of Legal Services for the Judicial Branch.
Thank you, Denise, and welcome. And I'm Denise Covington, although I'm the SAFE Program Manager. Linda is the chair of the SAFE Advisory Committee, but I will be chairing this meeting today. And I want to welcome everybody and thank you for taking time out of your busy schedules. The first thing on our agenda is the approval of the July 14th meeting minutes. Does anyone, let's start with a motion to approve, and then we'll get a second and discuss.
So moved.
And second?
Second.
Thank you, Natasha. Discussion.
Denise, just something for Jean. I noticed under item number 2, approval of May 12, 2021 meeting minutes, she spelled my last name wrong, which a lot of people do. For some reason, the Marielle and the Daniels often combines to be Danielle.
Oh,
so it's correct up top. So Just
Thank you, Marielle. I'll make that change.
Yep, thank you.
Thank you, Mariel. Any other discussion? All in favor with the change noted?
Aye.
Any nays? Any abstentions?
I abstain,
Okay.
Sherry.
Thank
wasn't.
you, Sherry. No, you weren't. Thank you.
I also abstained, Denise.
Yep. Thank you, Linda. Well, the motion carries, so the minutes are approved with the change noted. So we have an update next. Looking forward to Edith and Lori discussing the revision of the DPH pamphlet. So Edith, you're on deck.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you again. Yeah, so I wanted to take this opportunity to introduce Lori Johnson to the group. Like I mentioned earlier, I believe other people weren't on the call yet, but she's the founder and the CEO of Converge Marketing. She has worked with DPH and with other projects with us in the past and done a wonderful job. And DPH, is lucky to have her to work with us now for the booklet. And I have to apologize. I think on my end, there was some misunderstanding about the information request for the booklet, but now I understand reviewing the section 19A, getting that important information in there pertaining to HIV/ICD testing sites and that information across the state for that booklet. Me and Laura discussed it previously, but I just want to use this time to, for us to get a better feel of the booklet and any other and outstanding needs that might be needed for it. And Lori's happy to join us today and to discuss with us. So thank you so much, Lori, for taking the time for joining us today.
You're welcome, and thank you, everyone else. Do you hear an echo?
Yes.
A little bit.
I did it before when you spoke, just now though.
Yeah, I'm only connected on this computer, so okay, it went away.
Yep,
Yeah,
you're
it did. You're good.
My apologies. So thank you again for having me today. I really am looking forward to just learning a little bit more. I'm very happy that your website conversation is on the agenda. I think that anything that supports the program needs to support your website, of course. And just also wanted to get input related to some creative things that we could do with the booklet, other than just listing, provider site locations and links, and but have it be maybe even just some bits of messaging that will sort of incentivize victims to pursue all the avenues that are available to them. To help them to start. Sometimes it's easier to start dialogue with someone that's in that place, that's where it's in writing versus coming from a person, or complementing what's come from a counselor or from a person. So I just wanted to, I think that it's important that everyone have an opportunity to at least think about how that booklet could be valuable for them and their role. There's no limits to so far, like how big it has to be, or of course, we don't want it to be huge. Something that's someone can fold up and carry around, but potentially include multiple QR codes, include multiple telephone numbers, pieces of information, other things that potentially were not in it before. Before it was very much a almost like a little mini directory. So I think understanding your goals, and really, it's awareness is the biggest thing. So how do we help you reach those goals and make sure that it's complementing, again, other communications things that you may do. So I'm really here to listen, to be honest, and to get input. And as we go forward too, with, anyone that wants to see drafts of it and have input, we're very open to that. So thank you. Those are my only comments. I'm just going to listen.
Any input on, well, let me ask this. Has everyone seen that booklet?
I don't think
So-
I actually ever have. So I was just about to say something, Denise, when you asked that question.
Excuse
Yes,
me,
sir.
are we talking about the current DPH booklet?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh,
Okay.
oh, the current. Okay, sorry.
The current
The
one, yeah,
current-
'cause
the
we
current
emailed that
dates.
out a couple of months ago, several months ago.
Yes, it's almost like a grayish green pamphlet. That's the appearance of it, and as Lori noted, it's more like it was like a directory of numbers and addresses.
Linda, did you mail it out or did you email it?
Natasha, it was emailed quite a while ago. Let me go
Okay,
on
I'll just go back in the email and look at it later
Yeah,
then. I just saved it somewhere.
maybe November. I'll see if I can
Okay.
find it and send it to you.
Okay. No, I have it somewhere. I just saved it and didn't really look at it.
But Lori, I think that your idea of QR codes, it seems like a lot of people are doing that. That's becoming kind of sort of the norm with, what I'm wondering is different, across the state with locations being what they are, if we have a patient who reports a sexual assault in Eastern Connecticut, but they're in Western Connecticut, would they be able to scan a QR code that would direct them to the nearest one, or would it just simply give broad-based information?
So no, we can include QR codes for each provider location. So they can select which one that they would go to. Yes. And so we'll have to play with it. Of course, there's a limitation to how small they can be to be effective. But this is great input to have up front, because then we can make plans. As you know, the older one, it's 12 pages. So if we have to make it a little bit bigger or format it a little differently to fit everything, this is the time to talk about it. One thing I wanted to mention too, if anybody wants to, maybe I can, I don't know, Edith, how you'd prefer to handle this, but I can give you my email address, and then I can create a list so that as our team is working on it, we can share with everyone at different stages so that you can have an opportunity to comment.
Yeah, what I can do is share Lori Johnson's contact information to the group. So that way, if there's any, like she said, drafts or any updates that could be made to, the workings of the booklet, that everyone can submit an input or a question or a comment. So I can do that at the end of the meeting. And I wasn't sure if we were still interested in doing different languages as well. I think we talked about maybe doing like Spanish or things like that. I wasn't sure if there were other languages that we wanted to include as an option for the booklet.
Oh, absolutely. I think that's really good. A number of our patients, and I'm sure this is very true across the state, where the Marty line or the language line is used by the hospitals in these cases, and it would be very helpful to have a language that they're familiar with, such as Spanish or Portuguese. I don't know if it's, I know Polish also is one of the languages.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a very high concentration of Polish speaking in the state. Also, I don't know if you've considered Mandarin. It's also a growing language, and I'm seeing it more now on things that people are including Mandarin. So it can be something you can consider, or maybe yes or no now, but something to think about.
Lori, again, this is Linda from the Office of Victim Services. Has anyone shared with you the booklet that we produce for sexual assault victims? Because again, the statute, I think, is fairly clear on the minimum of the brochure, what the brochure has to include. But we also produce somewhat of a informational resource guide. So if you haven't received one, Jean, maybe you can send one, or we can send you the link so you can see it. So that the DPH document is not duplicating what the OVS document is producing. It's Edith, I see you're nodding, so yes, thank you for agreeing.
Thank you, that would be great.
I have another question. I mean, we know that the CDC recently updated some of their guidelines. And it would be great if we could have that QR code so that it would link to the latest information. I don't know if the CDC has something that's specific for patients that would be updated with any updates, but one of our problems with the brochure is that it became outdated in terms of the content. So I don't know how possible that is.
So it's certainly possible. The consideration that we'll have to weigh is if the CDC typically, they archive pages, they don't remove them. So if the URL for that information changes, then the QR code will no longer go to the right place.
Oh, okay.
But that doesn't, it may not happen for a year. So it doesn't, you just have to weigh. Do you want to include that or not want to include it? The other thing that I know we can do is also we can create, just copy that content and put it on the DPH site, and then it will always, that QR code will always work because Edith has control over that page.
Okay.
So that's a way to work around that problem, because any content that's there, I'm sure we can use. So
yes.
Yeah. So that's
great.
A workaround we can. So I'll check on what's there and, of course, compare notes.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, and anything that's not currently on the DPH website, we can always update that as well. So that shouldn't be a problem.
I would say the other thing to consider is that the thing that got outdated the quickest was HIV testing sites and like Planned Parenthood sites, and especially with what's going on across the country right now, you might want to consider something where you're linking to like their webpage or something where then you find your own location. Because I remember last times when we were printing these more actively, like every year or whatever, it would literally be like the next time 6 of them would be closed or changed or somewhere different. So those kinds of services that are changing rapidly might also be ones that you might want to link to an organization rather than individual sites.
Yes to all of the above. So yeah, you can just decide, Planned Parenthood, whatever it is that you'd like to include, as far as a QR code is concerned. And sometimes, the other thing that you can do, people are very internet savvy. You can always include a QR code just to the home page, and then you can tell them, you can say, and then search, sexual violence, sexual abuse, sexual violence victim, whatever the appropriate phrase would be.
The other thing that we haven't done before, but especially in thinking about some of the, I like the way, Laura, you started out talking about sort of like both being user-friendly, but incentivizing. And there's unfortunately not a whole lot to incentivize people, quite honestly, with a lot of this stuff. I wonder if one of the things that might be helpful to do is to help to give folks like the questions to possibly ask providers, right? So if I don't think we've done that in the past, but sort of making it a user guide in terms of how do you make the conversation more accessible with like someone like a healthcare provider? If you're calling, for a Planned Parenthood and it becomes emergent because it has to do with a sexual assault, how are ways that you can sort of like broach that conversation? Maybe some things like that might also be helpful in this iteration of it.
Yes. Yeah. So that would be really, I think, a very useful tool. Yeah. And you can include, depending on the length of the questions, you can include some of them in the brochure, maybe if you want, and then have and include more of them on whatever website, whether it's the Advisory Council website or the DPH website or wherever it needs to be. Yeah, that's a great idea.
That would make it really user friendly.
Yeah.
And we want it to be something that they don't just toss away, that they actually use.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely. So therein also one consideration is also not making it too bulky.
Yeah.
So having it be something that, one thing that Edith requested also was a card. I just happen to have because I'm from a physician of mine, it's a little card that, I don't know if you can see it or not. Here we go.
Oh,
And
there we go.
And it folds. So you could also complement the brochure with a card that has a QR code that goes to a digital version of the brochure. So that way, you can put this in your phone cover, or you can put this anyplace. And especially for victims that may be in danger of, partner issues or those kinds of things. Yeah, they can put it away, hide it easily.
It's all great ideas.
Okay, good.
So is there any other comments from folks?
Did we still want to, including in that QR code information, like include links to the Alliance website, to DPH, to so they have all those resources at hand to them?
Sure, I think, sure. I mean, because from my perspective, the more out there it is, the more people will be inclined to use it and see it, but frankly, see it and use it.
Okay.
Anything else, Edith, you want to add?
No, so far this is very helpful for me. I'm sure this was very helpful for Lori as well. And we had some really new good ideas too, so I'm excited about it. So
great.
Yeah.
Lori, thank you so much. It's really helpful to have you here and to have you to kind of sort of walk us through a little bit of what this could look like and what it could be.
No problem. Maybe what we can do too in a future meeting, hopefully it won't take months to get this done, but at a future meeting we can, or maybe even have a quick impromptu meeting if it's more convenient, whichever works, to comment on a draft. So it can be done by email or it can be done as a group.
Okay, that'd be great. So what we're going to do then is you're going to put together a draft with these ideas and maybe send it back out to us?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll work with Edith directly on it, and when she's ready and she feels like she's ready for it to be shared, then yes, we'll share it. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Anybody else? Okay. So we'll move on to, yes, and thank you so much, Lori.
Thank you, Lori.
I don't believe that, is Heather here? Okay, so I know Heather had, there was a question about whether or not she would be able to be here to provide an update. Because the next thing on your agenda is actually an update on the Connecticut emergency nurses. They had a July meeting. And so she sent an email, it was questionable about whether or not she would be here, but what she was doing was they had a meeting, the Connecticut chapter of the Emergency Nurses Association had a July meeting. And the idea was to share about the SAFE program itself with the Connecticut Emergency Nurses Association and their members. And so they discussed it at their July meeting, and what her email says is that the Connecticut Emergency Nurses Association basically can offer a table at their Ascend conference. It's an annual conference that they have every fall for emergency nurses. And they have a vendor section apparently. And what they can do is provide information regarding the SAFE program, as well as kind of sort of giving that information not just out to those nurses who have been around for a while, but also to new ER nurses. Every year there's a whole slew of new ER nurses that come in, and they may not be aware of the program. In fact, oftentimes they're not. I know when I'm contacted by nurses inquiring about the SAFE program, basically they're kind of wondering why they haven't heard about it before. So this would actually be helpful. She said the Ascend conference is scheduled for October 26th this year. And she said it's at the Doubletree Hotel in Bristol. Hybrid, I'm thinking that's part of that's virtual, part of that's in person. And she's basically offering to provide additional information as it comes up about that opportunity. So I think that's a great opportunity for us to recruit, at least make people more aware of the program. And so if you have any questions about that, hopefully she'll be able to attend our November meeting after the fact, and we'll be able to report out on the outcome of the Ascend conference. And
so Denise,
yes.
Denise, I read that just as I was sitting down, and Denise Poncini, I think you're still here for 3 minutes. I shouldn't be doing this in front of everybody, but I think we have to run that by legal to see if we can accept that.
Oh, okay.
Because as a state agency, we may not be able to accept something that offers us an unfair advantage. So Denise Poncini, do you agree that we need to look into it, and if we can accept that?
Yes, let's take a look at it.
Okay.
It's a very generous offer, but I just want to make sure we're on good ground to accept that.
Okay. So then, stay tuned. So we'll get an update on, obviously for the November meeting, one way or another, we'll have an update on that. Any questions? Okay. So the next thing on your agenda is the SAFE program website development. That is still in development. Basically, what we're looking at is making a website, and just to review for, if I know Sherry, you're one of the new members. So, and just to kind of remind and refresh everybody, what we're looking at doing is developing a link from the OVS website that would lead to a page for the SAFE program, and it would be very specific to the SAFE program, not so much the SAFE training program, which is a little different. It's broader and that's more state-based, but this is more of a recruiting tool, a marketing tool for the SAFE program itself, which is a response program. And one of the things, a couple of the things we're looking at including on that website is basically a frequently asked questions. And some of those questions are very simple. I am frequently asked, what's the difference between a SANE and a SAFE, for instance? There are people who have no idea what a SAFE does. They watch TV, they have these, impressions from watching TV shows like CSI, and they're not really sure what the actual work is. So part of that would be the FAQ section to just kind of sort of explain what a SAFE is, what a SAFE does. We also have a description from the training program itself, which is already in our hospital application. So we're basically taking that information and putting it out there. Also kind of the dates, because we have dates that are, our class dates are set well in advance. So we have dates that go out actually to fall of 2022. And we're hoping to get more for like 2023, so we can keep kind of sort of almost like a couple of years in advance of the dates for people to plan for, as well as the application process. Healthcare is not familiar with the branch. They have no idea what an RFI is. So the idea would be to explain a little bit about the process, as well as the qualifications and requirements. And then there would be basically you can, a link that you could click on. If you're interested in actually applying for the program, you can actually become part of a list in where when the window of opportunity opens to apply for the SAFE program, they can actually be a part of that list. So that's some of the things we're looking at including. Obviously, this will be going under review. I've talked to Linda about it already, and it would essentially go for formal review before something called the web board. The judicial branch has a web board that reviews the content, because this would actually be on a judicial branch website. Linda, I don't know if you want to explain a little bit more about the web board at all.
Well, it's an organization of the judicial branch. It's made up of various representatives from the units, and their job is to ensure consistency in everything from typeface, look and feel, and information provided to anything that is posted on the judicial branch intranet and internet. So again, it's Brittany, I think is it chaired by Melissa? I should know that, but I don't. But it's really to ensure that we're in compliance with the rules that the branch have for posting, and that everything it conforms to standards.
Thanks, Linda. That helps to kind of explain it a little bit. So in other words, it's undergoing a very thorough review before it actually gets out there. And the intent of the website, again, is it's basically to let healthcare providers know that we're here. It's really kind of odd, because we've been here for a decade, and I still have people who come to me and they heard about it from someone else who heard about it from somebody else, and they had no idea that this even existed. And I hear that more often than I should. So the idea is to take the surprise out of it. No, I didn't know about this. So now we have a way to provide information for people and to get the word out there. One of the things, though, that we run into is how to get it out there. This is where I'm going to go to you all. And my question is this. I have a couple of questions. One is, we're looking to the SAFE Advisory Committee to identify a kind of sort of an approach to the different healthcare groups. And actually, since nurses, and I know it's to all healthcare providers, but nurses in particular are the ones who tend to take this course. And so we're looking to the SAFE Advisory Committee, particularly the healthcare component, to say, we have these different groups out here. We have, a med-surg group. We have a psychiatric group. We have retirees who might be interested in doing this kind of work. And so those are the folks we're looking to market this website to. That's a part A. The part B of that is how. We've looked at the idea of a business card, much like what, Lori, I think you had that business card that was like a foldable business card, had a QR code. Yes, something like that. Was very simple. But what somebody else had an idea of a brochure that could be mailed out. So I'm going to throw it out to you all. If you could just brainstorm with me a little bit about who should this, how do we get this out there, and what's the best method of getting it out there?
Denise, this is Sherry from the Connecticut Nurse Association. So I think that we have a large following on our website and emailing. So I think I could bring it back to them about the best way that they feel that they can support this and sending it out. Obviously within the rules of just listening to about the the Emergency Nurse Association conference. But we do have mailings and then you also have subspecialty groups, like you mentioned, that are under the CNA. So we are meeting in like 2 weeks, so I can bring this to our committee and ask them. Also, on another note, Connecticut League of Nursing, I also sit on that board, and they have we have over 5,000 people on our mailing list on that board from the Connecticut League of Nursing. So I can ask them. I just don't know if there's things that structures in place that we can't send out, like notification or post somewhere. I don't know about what our restrictions are legally.
Yeah. And we run into the same thing on this end. So I totally understand that. But Certainly it sounds like the potential is there to reach out to a much larger group of possible, basically an audience that is much larger, that would be interested in being a part of such a program. So yes, that would be great if we could, basically I can work with Linda and Denise and Pat and maybe get a little bit of information together and kind of work out the details outside the meeting, if that would be okay.
Okay. And then I'll just wait. I mean, I'll reach out to them during my meetings and
Okay.
I'll also connect back with you. Just ask, just saying, can we help and support this?
That'd be great.
What's their ideas? And then I'll give it back to you, obviously, well before our next meeting.
That would be great. Thank you so much. What are thoughts about the method of getting it out there? I know that there's advantages to brochures, that they're mailable. I know business cards are something that is a little bit harder in the space of a pandemic because we're not so much in person, but they can also be handed out, when we are in person, or even mailed in bulk to different entities. So I'm looking for thoughts on what you think would be the best method of getting this out there. So what are the advantages and disadvantages of those?
Hi, I'm thinking that with a mass email or maybe access to a listserv would reach more people.
Okay.
Probably people that don't open their mail, or probably takes a week to open their mail. They're probably have more access to their computer and they can see email right away.
Yeah, a good point.
I think social media and through these and listserv, like you were saying, and if anything was a mailing, I know just as a nurse, I get some stuff. It would be like a postcard that you read and you don't have to open, or something that is already saying it very there. So sometimes I get like those postcards in the mail about a program or about something, and that, I mean, I don't know what the budget is either. So being cognizant of that versus being something online, but both ways, I guess, if you want to really be comprehensive. But I would recommend something that has most of it right out in front of people, so they're not throwing it out. Because I actually read the postcards. I know a lot of people who do, versus opening something. Well, I mean, because when you're opening all your mail, but if you see a postcard that says nurses, usually that will grab my attention. So.
Yeah, that's that's a really good point. To be honest, the idea of mailings, I had not really considered, mass emailings. I had not really considered that in the form of a postcard. But that's a great idea. Any other thoughts on that? Ideas, suggestions?
I just a long-term thought. I'm not at all aware of your budgets and what kind of lists that you have. But one thing that you might consider for the future is to start to collect individuals' mobile numbers and use text messaging services. They're much like an email blast, very inexpensive, and it's so convenient to get a text message especially if it's something that you have opted into and that you want. And also could be a great way to send updates, like say in the sense of, we all now have to think about the next emergency, right? The next ability, so people can opt into different, let's say you have a list of 10,000 names. People can opt into different alerts, just like you do for the state, right? And so they can get, so if it's a message, whoever's opted into that gets that. If it's some sort of alert or whatever it is that needs that you have, but it's something to think about. I think people, it's very convenient. It's amazing the things that are being done over text messages these days. Yeah.
Well, it's interesting that, and I have not really considered that in a mass way, but I do know this, as the manager of the SAFE program, if I really want to get a hold of a SAFE and not wait for days to hear from them, I send a text message. That gets a pretty quick response because they've got their phone right there. So it's thank you for that idea. I'm not quite sure what all we can implement here, but these are all great ideas. And certainly they were, ones that I haven't really considered. It was like more, being of my generation, to be honest, I'm more of a print person. I'm more of a book person. I like to read paper. So that's how I think. And of course, it's the ones we really want to attract are those who are often more computer savvy than I am. And but at the same time, one of our SAFEs who does a great number of cases, she had the idea of tapping the retired nurses, that there's quite a few nurses out there that are retiring, but they don't quite want to retire. They like to keep their hand in it. So we're also looking at, we're looking at a wide variety of different groups of folks that might have not considered this kind of work before. So any questions about that? About the website or marketing? Okay, so so the next thing is, and this is going to actually be a fairly brief update. I think we've got some exciting news coming up with training. But we did have the annual competency days. And again, just by way of context here, we have a training program where those who complete that training program, in order to keep their certificate, they have to attend an annual competency day once a year. It's a one-day refresher training, 1 day a year. And if they do that 3 years in a row, they keep their certificate up to date, and it's renewed for another 3 years. We started this through Public Act 1799, and it took until the fall of 2018 to really implement. And so that was kind of the start date, was the fall of 2018. From that class on, all those who wanted to keep their certificate, but who were not in the SAFE program, have to attend these annual competency days. And one of the things we had asked the advisory committee to do was to compile and basically put out a list of SAFEs for this in the state of Connecticut. Who can practice as a SAFE? Who's met the qualifications and the requirements that were actually established by Public Act 19114. And so we had 7 annual competency days so far this year. We're not done. We actually have at least a couple scheduled for this fall, and we may need to schedule a third one. But we had 7 this summer. So I just want to share with you some of the information that, as we're compiling this list, and this will be given, once it's verified, it still needs to be kind of audited and verified, but once it's verified, this is the list that will be given to the SAFE Advisory Committee to be put out. So we have, basically we have a total of 105 on this list. They include all those, like I said, all those who completed each class from fall of 2018 all the way to spring of 2021. The spring class of 2021 did not need to attend the summer annual competency because they had just finished their class in May. So they'll attend in the next summer's session. They also include program SAFEs. There are those who have resigned whose certificate was in date. And then we also have the current program SAFEs. We also have a select group of SANE-A's, that's board certified sexual assault examiners. Myself, Pat, being among them, but also we had another one who came from out of state, and her training was done out of state, but she came to this state and she did the refresher training one time, which was all she needed to do. So that's that list. And then So all of those together really combined to 105, 18 of whom are in the SAFE program. We had a total of 52 who actually needed to attend the annual competency day, and of that 52, 40 have already attended. The remaining folks who need to attend, they were not able to attend these dates for a variety of reasons. Family emergency, being out of state, and those kinds of reasons. And there are 12 of them. So we're asking those 12 to attend an annual competency day between now and the end of the year in order to maintain their certificate. We did not include, who we did not include were those who very specifically stated that they were no longer practicing as a SAFE and did not want to pursue their certificate. Reasons given for that include moving out of state. They included, well, basically illness, out of state, retirement, things that they're not going to come back and practice. So those are the ones that were not included, and we have the documentation, the emails to support not including those and their reasons why. We also have, I should say, we also have the dates for 2022 and 2023 already booked. And those will be put out well in advance so that they have a chance to keep their certificates and to plan on those dates well in advance. And so as soon as we get that list verified, that list will be given to the SAFE Advisory Committee. And the question for the Advisory Committee will be, where should these be posted? And I'm going to ask for feedback on that, so that hospitals have access to them. Marielle, do you have any thoughts?
I mean, none that I haven't already shared, I think, on, other meetings where we've talked about that. I think we're happy to have this move forward. I think it's going to be useful. So just, I don't think I have anything fresh to say though, Denise, but for those who are new to the group, I have been supportive in the past and remain supportive with this, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you, Marielle. Edith, is this something that should be on the DPH website?
Hello, yeah, we can add this to the website as well, just to, have more information out there. We could do that.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Any other thoughts? So we want, what we are looking for is for those who are on that list to be able to see whether or not they're on that list or still on that list, because they may have, if they're not on that list, they may have questions. We also want the hospitals, nurses, travel, and by the way, and I say nurses, we recognize these are all healthcare providers who could come into the program, who could take the course, but right now all of those are nurses and most of them are registered nurses. We have maybe 2 advanced practice nurses. But we want the hospitals, if they see somebody who's got this on their resume and they want to verify it. So that's the other reason for this. So any other thoughts or questions on that?
I just had a question about like posting on a website. Do you know like a format that would be more helpful? Like, would it be just a paragraph explaining and a link to another website? Would that be helpful to put on?
So it's a good question. One of the things we had talked about was, first of all, there would not be any other identification other than by name. There would be like no hospital listed, no contact information, just the name, and it would be in alphabetical order. The list itself would be updated 2 times a year because we have classes 2 times a year. So the dates we had talked about updating were like, initially July, but honestly, it's going to be the end of the summer because there's just too many people. What we're finding is that these folks need more dates than what we had originally thought they would need. And we want to make sure they have a chance to get updated. So, but 2 times a year, generally every 6 months. So maybe end of the summer and then the beginning of the new year, where it would be updated.
Great, thank you.
Anytime. Any other questions? Okay, so I think next we have a SAFE training program update. Pat, you're on.
Hi, everybody. Hope everyone's had a good day today. The first item I want to mention is the Train the Trainer program. We initiated that in August, and the reason for that is we're asked on multiple occasions to provide training to advocate agencies, to hospitals, and it's basic training as far as care of the sexual assault patient. So our goal is to provide consistent training. We want this training to have the same message. So we initiated this Train the Trainer program. We have 7 SAFEs that are presently in the program. We, again, initiated it in August. We had day 1 and day 2. Each session is 2 hours long. Day 3 will be September 29th. For example, day 1, very basic. We introduce each other, why they're taking this class. We go over topics such as engaging the audience, how to project your voice when presenting, how to stand when presenting, and how to respond to a challenging audience member. Then they received a homework assignment for day 2, and that was to present to provide a 5-minute presentation on any topic of interest to them. I just said that in this class, one of the things really, it's been extremely enjoyable. Everybody's had fun, but I have learned a lot, and I've caught myself so many times. I've noticed I say I notice I sway when I'm talking. So it's been very, very educational for everybody, but in a very fun, spirited, friendly feedback way. So I did it again. Day 2, everyone gave their presentation, and it was very, very interesting. Originally, I planned this to be just a 3-day program, but after day 2, we noticed that some needed a little more finesse. So day 3 assigned, their homework assignment for day 2 was they were provided the PowerPoint that they will use when they do go out for training, and they were given certain slides. So that will be day 3. They'll have to present on that, because the ultimate goal is for everyone to present to Linda Cimino. And we want so day 3 will be a rehearsal. Give them time for, again, friendly feedback. Everybody's taken feedback very, very well. So anyway, Denise has been in a few of the sessions, and you wouldn't think it would be so much fun, but they are quite a bit. They're very entertaining. So again, that is the Train the Trainer program, so we can accommodate all training requests and provide a consistent message to everyone that asks us for training, which leads us into the fall program. So again, as Denise said, we have SAFE training twice a year, and this is the fall training. Day 1 will start October 3rd. We're not quite sure how many students will be in the classes yet. We project a small class for different reasons, but we will know that number September 20th. And then on our third topic I have Instead of waiting for requests from hospitals, I had this idea because I've heard at annual competencies and SAFEs a lot of frustrations from nurses that work in the emergency rooms primarily. They're familiar, even if they took the basic training, what consistent care to the patient who reports a sexual assault should be. And they find themselves in an uncomfortable position where they're educating the provider about certain topics, such as STI testing, what meds should be given, just again, we're striving throughout the state consistent care. So instead of waiting for hospitals to ask us for training, I collaborated with Marielle, which has been an extremely pleasant circumstance again, and we've met a few times, and they are going to help sponsor a training where we will, hospitals will know the training's coming. The Connecticut Hospital Association will market that for us. We will provide the training. CEUs will be provided to those in attendance. I don't know if you want to mention anything, Marielle.
Oops, sorry, just had to get off mute. I am actually, as Pat said, very excited from the Hospital Association's perspective that, OVS is willing to provide their time and expertise. And so we couldn't be more overjoyed to help sponsor this. And as I think Pat may have alluded, we're going to, go through one round, see how it goes, and then readjust anything that, we learn based on the first experience, and, hope to offer it multiple times, so not just a one and done, but more of a routine offering, with any sort of tweaks that we need to make as we, gain feedback and solicit feedback from those who participate. So we're really looking forward to it. I think the only thing that, although it has its pros and cons, I think is, we're here, we've heard that, the Office of Victim Services and the judicial branch are a little leery of recording anything. So I know in the past CHA has certainly recorded those types of presentations so that, Pat wouldn't have to do a roadshow all the time. But I do think that it might be, helpful, in fact, to do it a few times, and maybe down the line, it can be something that gets recorded and offered, more routinely or easily accessed and not require so much man time by all of us. But we'll see how it goes.
It's an exciting endeavor, and we are being held in suspense to find out how many people will register and et cetera, et cetera. So again, thank you everyone for your time. Any questions at all?
Pat, can you also share just a little bit about the quality assurance meetings coming down the pike that the SAFEs across the state are being invited to that have taken the training?
Yes, every month we have a QA. If there is not a presenter at QA and it's just for the SAFE program, others from the outside are not invited. But routinely, I'd say 90% of the time, for example, October 14th, Dr. White from the coroner's office will speak. And an invitation goes out to anyone that has gone through SAFE training, just to keep up training. Last month was strangulation. The month November, we have how to address mental health issues in patients with staff that they may encounter in the emergency room, how to de-escalate situations. December is exclusive for the SAFE program. January, we have law enforcement coming. So, and this past July, we had the representative from the forensic. They're all very, very interesting. The presenters are wonderful. and it's a great opportunity. It's all related to sexual assault, and they are pretty well attended by the safes that aren't part of the program but work outside and at their hospitals.
Yes, thank you, Pat. Pat has done a wonderful job kind of building what is becoming a very robust training program for the care of sexual assault victims. And so I'm very excited. It's been wonderful to see. And as we grow, and we will be growing, I believe that safes, there won't be any more folks coming to me and saying, I never heard about this, because it's becoming the norm instead of something that was a concept or an idea. So with that said, is there any new business? That's the last thing on our agenda. Is there anything else that we need to bring up? Okay, so going to get you out a little early today. I'm sure we'll give you back a half an hour of your time. I'm sure it could be much appreciated. So the next meeting is November 10th. We're sticking to our every other month, second Wednesday, the 2 p.m. time frame. If we could everybody bring their calendars next time in November, that way we can get our dates set for the following year, that would be great. So if nothing else, we will call it adjourned at 3:02.
Thanks, Denise.
Thanks, Denise.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. for
Thank you,
coming.
Denise.
Yeah,
Thank
nice
you
to
so
meet
much.
you, Lori.
Nice to meet everyone.
Bye.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Denise.
Bye.
Thanks, everyone.
Have a good day, everyone.
Sherry.